And the next person on our list is Kelly Karekis, and again, I apologize. And you don't want to testify?
We're switching spots. I'm number 61.
Number 61, so we're going to hear from, no, 61 is Monica Peters, and I don't think you are.
Jonathan Williamson.
Jonathan Williamson, 62. Do you, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ms. Karekis, do you want to testify in his place at 61? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Williamson, do we have written testimony from you?
No, you don't have written testimony
Okay,
from me.
thank you. Well, we just like to have it if we're going to follow along.
No, I just became aware of these hearings pretty recently. However, I'm constantly rehashing the injustices occurring in my daughter's life on a daily basis, so I'm going to give it a shot here with a little ill-prepared. I'm here today because I feel not because I feel things haven't gone my way through the dissolution of my marriage, but because my daughter and many other children and parents are being damaged and broken by this ineffective and inefficient process. My daughter's being hurt on a daily basis. In any other circumstances, children are immediately protected and removed from harm. But this process continues every day, and not even a judge cares to look into doing what's right for a child. Our state officials have let us down, putting professional and personal relationships in front of truly investigating and placing into action routines that are actually in the child's best interests. Not one parent or another. I'm here because there is at the very least a lack of objectivity, but I will go as far as to say unethical practices occurring in our courts. I'm a father, but I'm also a taxpayer and a contributor to the good of our community. And Connecticut is no bargain to live in, and our officials have failed to protect my daughter. I have been on the brink of bankruptcy, not because I don't go to work or I'm not smart with my money, because the individual I was forced to hire has no motivation to wrap our case up. Actually, it significantly benefits him financially, as I drown in bills. The financial well-being of a parent should not be at risk because they choose to object to insufficient visitation or, even worse, motions for sole custody. How will devastating a parent financially help that child in the future? My daughter would like us to have a home, maybe a swing set or a sandbox in the backyard. She'd like to probably go to college someday. All of this would be possible if we could ever wrap up this family court case. It's hard to pay everyday bills because it happens to cost tens of thousands of dollars just for me to participate in even trying to protect my daughter's rights to have both of her healthy and capable parents in her life. Divorce is difficult enough, with events such as shootings and suicides occurring more frequently among children and teens. Isn't it obvious to everyone how important it is to surround children with positive role models and experiences? You know, divorce is tough enough. This broken process makes it that much more so. I have a guardian ad litem that I was forced to hire a couple years ago. Upon meeting this individual, it wasn't my idea, it was my ex's attorney's idea that we hired this specific person. There was no getting around that. Upon first meeting this person in their office and realizing that I had to cough up the $5,000 retainer and whatnot, speaking to him briefly for 10 minutes, he ends our conversation by telling me, "Mr. Williamson, you need to realize that I've been working in this state for years. I sit at the Hartford Club with judges that sit on the bench and have cocktails with them. And they tell me I'll do whatever you tell me to do when it comes to a kid, because you've represented more than anyone in this state. So, Mr. Williamson, you better do what I tell you to do if you want to have any chance of seeing your daughter." This is with, no, I have, we never had any domestic violence. There was never any accusations of neglect, of abuse to my daughter. We simply were a young couple starting, the not-so-easy process of a life together. That fell through. I'll admit I wasn't a perfect husband in many ways, but there was no abuse, no anything, not even allegations of that. This man steps in and takes away my child from me. He constantly supported motions for immediate sole custody. We go into court, just like other people have stated. I can never even get to the point where the judge asked me a question. The judge never even asked me what's going on.
Mr. Williamson, can you wrap up, please?
Yeah, I mean, I have one more example of this attorney ad litem just unethical behavior. Recently, I do have visitation with my daughter every other weekend. We're still in the process of modifying that and her gaining more time with me. Her mother wanted to take her to Florida recently. I didn't realize this. She contacted me saying, "Hey, can we switch weekends? I'd like to switch weekends for whatever reason." I inquire a little more into it. Sure, what are you, taking her away? What are you guys up to? I don't have a problem. I'm trying to avoid complications and altercations because that is not good for my daughter. Communication stopped at that, to where I find out later on that she contacted the guardian ad litem, must have told him of her plans to go on a Disney trip with my daughter. I don't know how the conversation went, I can only guess. But anyway, I go to pick up my daughter for my regularly scheduled visitation, and she's not in school. Not only is she not in school, she's not in the state. Come to find out a week later, after multiple calls to the guardian ad litem, wondering where my child is and what's going on with my visitation, to where he has no response to me, I come to find out that she's in Florida with her mother. We had a court date already set up for a couple days after I found this information out, and my daughter's still on this vacation. We had a court date set up with this guardian ad litem, not to discuss more visitation or a better situation for my daughter, but to discuss me not paying his bills on a case that's not even completed yet. He's already gotten the $5,000 retainer, another $5,000 from me, the same amount from my ex, and now we're going to court at $300 an hour. He's charging, me and her mother, because we split it, because he wants his money from me, and the case isn't even wrapped up yet. We just submitted financial affidavits. I proved to him I'm a construction worker. I'm not behind in my child support. I'm not behind in bills. I have gas to drive my daughter to school. I feed her. I get her clothes, all this stuff. Now I'm going to court and facing prison time because I can't pay this guy the extra $3,000 that he needs instantaneously. Not only that.
Mr. Williamson, I need you to wrap this up, please.
One more second here. Not only that, but I went to court and arrearages on child support, because when she started the process, she asked for child support. Well, we didn't get to the topic of child support until a year later. So now the judge issues arrearages because, all right? Now, the judge tells me I can pay very quickly, $20 a week I can pay for my daughter's arrearages, but I need to pay Frank Santi, an attorney ad litem, $400 a month. I have to do it or I face going to jail. But I can pay my daughter's arrearages $20 a week? There's something seriously wrong with this. Seriously.
Are there any questions from task force members? Ms. Veronal.
I am so sorry to hear this story. It's just heartbreaking. I just want to cry when I hear these stories, I got to tell you, because it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. This is happening all across the state and across the country, and I'm quite frankly tired of hearing that it's a small problem. It's a big problem here. And for this guardian ad litem, I guess, to allow your wife, when you have joint legal custody?
We have joint. It keeps going back and forth.
Okay.
It depends on how he seems to feel on that
All right.
particular
And I
case.
know there's always a lot of details and things like that, but I feel for you, and I'm very sorry.
If you have a guardian ad litem and you sign a contract, he says you have two parties involved. He's disclosing information equally and openly to both parties. And now my daughter's in Florida, and I ask him on a court date where he brought me there to collect money from me, where my daughter is today, and he tells me, I can't talk to you about that right now. We're not here to discuss that. The only reason why you even exist in my life is because of her.
And let me just say this, I do believe there's a lot of validity to what you just said, because I know that there have been some judges that have said to attorneys when they assist them when they're not busy in their practice, take the guardian ad litem training and I'll throw you some cases. So I know this is going on, and it's very upsetting. So I believe what you said.
Emotionally just upset, hey, disgruntled individual. Kids are being hurt on a daily basis.
Okay.
And we
Mr.
could sit
Weissmuller,
here,
you have a question?
intelligent and smart people, and talk about it every week.
Sir,
Kids are still being hurt.
we have a question.
Monetary.
We have a question on the other side of the room.
How are you, sir? I can see that you're upset. No, I actually meet a lot of people who seem to feel exactly like you feel. Yeah.
You know, if you don't get upset about your kids, what is there to get upset about?
No, I understand. In different states, they have different ways of dealing with guardian ad litem debt and child support arrearages. The method that I'm familiar with, I hate to keep saying this, is from another jurisdiction, so it's not necessarily helpful to you. But would it be helpful to you once a bill is, well, no, I'm going to hit you with a couple of these. One, would it be helpful if you had the ability to hire a guardian ad litem that you knew would be free for 90 days to work on your case? In other words, the way it would work is they look on the list. You know, we've got 1,500 eligible guardian ad litems roughly in the state of Connecticut. They look on the list and they say, here's a couple names. The next one's on the list. Your lawyer has to go outside and make a few phone calls with the other lawyer. They find out who's available in the next 90 days because the court order is going to say, within 90 days, we need you to go do all these things. Come back, give us your recommendation. Before we appoint you, we need to know how much you charge per hour, and we're going to limit you to 20 hours to do your job. And 60 days before the trial on this matter, we need to have a written report that discloses to both sides what you will testify for regarding these 16 items. Would that have been helpful to you?
That would be extremely helpful.
Okay.
As long as the guardian, excuse me, there's not one attorney or the other that is choosing the guardian ad litem.
All right, let me get to another question then. Well, I'm suggesting it would come off a registry.
Right.
That's the way
It's
it
gotta be
happens.
definitely random. I mean, these people have told me themselves it's a very close-knit community. The first thing my guardian did was take our money and send us the therapist. So now we're going to a therapist who gets paid, or the guardian gets paid to talk to this therapist and both of our attorneys.
Okay.
You know, and he doesn't do anything.
Raises another question about the appearance of impropriety.
Yeah.
In my jurisdiction, where I worked as a guardian ad litem, it says in my rules of professional conduct that I may not take a fee for referring someone. So if I know someone who would be a good guardian ad litem or a good attorney for the other side or whatever, I can't take a fee in that at all. And not even if I know someone who would help you with a personal injury case. Can't take a fee unless I do work on the case. Are you concerned, based on this close network, that there may be some kind of fee referrals?
I'm not necessarily worried about the fee referral. I don't necessarily think it's about everyone's trying to put a couple extra dollars in their pocket. I think it's like if you're working in an office building, you got a guy in your cubicle next to you. You don't want to piss him off on a daily basis because you're going to have to sit next to him. All right? I feel like these people are handling situations in the court the same way. I'm going to have to be dealing with this attorney a week down the road on a case. You know, well, why don't we rub each other's back here, you know?
Do you know how many cases your guardian ad litem is currently assigned to?
Other cases?
Yeah.
I'm not aware of other cases that he is assigned to right now, but I am aware that the therapist that he forces to go see for another $200 an hour, he's been working closely with for a number of years. So they just kick each other cases back and forth, talk to each other on the phone, and they're both getting paid from both parties. And not only that, but the guardian ad litem told me when we went to go see this therapist initially, that the therapist would conclude the therapy process with a written evaluation of what he thinks is in the best interest of the child based on our therapy sessions and what he's aware of. My guardian ad litem told me, I went into court for probably the 12th court date or whatever for a conference session, a status conference, and my guardian ad litem walked out, supposedly a meeting with my ex, trying to convince her to give me the more time, and he said, well, she's not willing to give you the more time, so listen, you got to agree to this right here. Well, I don't agree to that. I want to go to trial. If you go to trial, Mr. Williamson, I will make sure that you see your child even less than you see her right now. Told me that in front of my lawyer. My attorney is the mayor of Manchester. The mayor of Manchester is sitting back and telling me, Mr. Williamson, I don't know what to do. Do whatever he says. You've got no choice here. You could give up and you could never see your daughter. I mean, that's what I'm going to have to do just to be able to afford to pay her child support.
I'm going to ask you point blank. Are you afraid to go into this system?
When the judge asked me at different conference meetings, is this in the best interest of the child? I'm afraid to say, no, this isn't in the best interest of the child. All right? When she asked me, have you been threatened to take this? I'm afraid to say, yes, I have been threatened. I feel threatened. When I'm told that I can't, this is the best you're going to do, if you even try to pursue your constitutional right to a trial, you're going to get less time because I'm Mr. High and Mighty and I got this relationship with the judges and they're going to do what I say, and he's right. They do what he says. You know?
There's another difference between this jurisdiction and mine. We actually have an appellate case that says we're not allowed to call ourselves the eyes and the ears of the court due to the intimidation factor and others.
The mayor of Manchester tells me there's nothing I can do besides continue this process and hope that Frank Sandy, excuse me, I probably shouldn't use the names, but whatever, dies in a car accident or a heart attack or something else, and then maybe you'll be able to move forward in your life.
Right. Just to be clear, Connecticut rules of practice and rules of professional conduct also provide that there are no kickbacks or referral fees. So just let's make that clear.
Okay, and are there any other questions for this gentleman? Sir, thank you very much.
you for
And
your time.
we're glad that we could get you in, and you
Thank
should
you.
thank your friend.